You're the hero. We are Ready, Nevada County.
Nevada County has a new tool to make evacuations safer and more efficient in the event of an emergency. This new tool is called Zone Haven, and we need you to know your zone.
In order to know your zone, you need to go to community.zonehaven.com, type in your address. Once your address populates in the pop-up window, take that information and write down the zone that is given to you where you know you'll find it in case of emergency.
Zone Haven and knowing your zone does not replace Nixle and/or Code Red. It actually supplements them, and it makes those tools more powerful because you'll know what zones are being evacuated or which ones are being placed on advisory. And as a result, you won't have to do anything else other than listen to those messages and know if it's time to go.
Even if you don't have internet, this could be done by word of mouth, it can be done by radio, or it could be us driving down the street, so please know your zone.
From Truckee to Lake of the Pines, from Chicago Park to Spenceville, every single square mile of Nevada County has a zone. And having a zone that you know for your neighborhood is going to help you save time to be able to evacuate and keep you and your family safe.
Ready Nevada County is an education campaign designed to help the public have successful outcomes during emergency events. We really focus on a whole host of disasters or emergency events. We want to have a broad spectrum. We want to be prepared for anything, but really we focus a lot on wildfire because we know that's one of the most likely events to happen in Nevada County.
Ready, Set, Go is really built around the wildfire premise to prepare residents to be ready before an event, to move into the set posture when there's a red flag or a fire is near you, and then to go when it's time to go.
Essentially, in its simplest form, it's a three-tiered community emergency preparedness plan.
I have lived in this house, which we built, my husband and I, 26 years ago now, actually. We selected the hardy plank, the concrete siding, and also the metal roof. Then when we moved up here and heard about the 49er fire, that's when we started to say, wow, this really is even more important than we first realized.
So the 49er fire is one of the most historic fires in Nevada County's history. They figured it changed the laws of the state of California that said this is how you have to protect your home. That came out of Nevada County.
Steve Eubanks came from the Fire Safe Council, and the main thing we needed to pay attention to was the ladder fuels. Planting has been removed from the edges of the house so that it does not touch the house. It was an incredible service from the Fire Safe Council to come out and spend a couple of hours going through this property.
So the ready phase is when there's no immediate threat to you and your family. This is the time when you should be doing education and planning, whether that be training, educating yourself, or accumulating equipment, hardening your home, creating defensible space.
Defensible space is really all about creating a buffer zone between your house and flammable vegetation. We really focus on defensible space around the home, that first 100 feet, but also around the roadway too. Another aspect of the ready phase is hardening the home, and really what that means is making your home more resilient to wildfire.
That's going to be putting the fine-grained mesh around the vents of your home so that embers won't get under your house or into the eaves of your house. That's going to be using non-combustible materials on your deck and around your home. So when an ember storm comes through, it's not going to ignite your home itself.
I currently live here in Grass Valley with my...
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm
calling to order the May 27th Board of Supervisors meeting. And Mr. Lou Cece, would you lead us in the pledge? Thank you. And, the mics are hot today. They're fine. They're just commenting. Oriana, any corrections or deletions to the agenda?
There are no corrections or deletions, Chair.
Thank you. And forgive my voice, people. I have the dreaded allergies, so hopefully my voice holds. Okay, we are going to move on to the consent calendar. I'm going to read through our little statement about it, and then I'm going to talk about it in plain English because I think some of you are here to make comments on it. These items are expected to be routine and non-controversial. The Board of Supervisors will act upon them at one time without discussion. Any board member may request that an item be removed from the consent calendar for discussion. Members of the public wishing to ask questions or hear discussion on items listed under the consent agenda may now raise their concerns to the board members. The supervisors will take these concerns under consideration and decide if there's adequate reason to remove the item from consent. So I'm introducing the consent calendar, which is items 1 through 13, and we're letting folks know that if they're going to want to call in with comment, they should start calling in now. And so just in plain English, if you want to make comments on any of the items 1 through 13, when I open up public comment, you may come down. You have up to 3 minutes. You don't have to take the whole 3 minutes to make a comment or ask a question. We don't answer any questions. We're just listening. And then we close public comment. There may or may not be an agenda item that's pulled, but that doesn't change anything with regard to public comment, really. And then when we're all done with the consent agenda, we open up general public comment. And general public comment is for people who want to comment on things that are not on the agenda. All right? So 2 separate comments, one for things on the consent agenda, the second general public for things not on the agenda. So it's very confusing. So I am going to open public comment. So if anyone wants to provide comments or request that items be removed, call in or come up to the dais and make your comment.
Chair?
Yes.
Sorry. If I want to pull something, is
Yes.
this the time to do it?
You may do it right now if
Okay,
you'd
I'd like to pull item 13.
Okay, we're going to pull item 13. So what we're going to do now is we're going to ask for public comment on items 1 through 12. That's everything except the proclamation for Pride Month. And then when we close public comment and vote on items 1 through 12, then we'll come back and open public comment on item 13 after we have a board discussion. Okay? Okay, any public comment on items 1 through 12? Anyone calling in?
No callers, Chair.
Okay, I'm going to close public comment on items 1 through 12 and ask for a motion and a second. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Hardy.
So this is unrelated. Quick comment on item 4. This is the Eastern County Annual Striping Contract. I just wanted to express appreciation for moving this up, into the springtime, because usually the striping happens in the fall, so the stripes get worn off and the bike riders and the cars have conflicts there. So I just wanted to express my appreciation to staff and David and Tricia specifically for moving this up and getting that done. It's a huge step in the right direction for bike safety. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Hardy. So I'm looking for a motion and a second to approve items 1 through 12.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, let's have a vote.
District 5,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 1.
Yes, thank you. All right, now we're going to pull up item 13. And this was pulled from the request of Supervisor Tucker. So would you like to make a comment on that?
Primary reason I pulled this is my understanding is consent items are supposed to be routine and non-controversial, and without getting into the merits of this proclamation, I think it's, I'll use the word naive to think that it's not a controversial issue, if not the actual wording of the resolution, but or the proclamation, but some of the debates behind it. I mean, this is probably one of the primary topics in campaigns and whatnot. And at this, I guess, to avoid offending anyone, I think I was consistent on this when we had the resolution a couple weeks ago about the federal funding. I just don't know if these symbolic resolutions that are somewhat controversial is what we should be doing here at the county. And I would compare it to the whole issue of DOGE. You know, on the surface, DOGE, who's against government efficiency? I don't think anybody is, right? But there's obviously it's a bigger conversation. There's something behind that I don't think we can cover or adequately address in 3 minutes, 5 minutes here. So I just think without commenting on the merits of the resolution, I think it's something that's maybe not the right forum for it, and particularly to call it in the consent agenda non-controversial. So that's all I have to say, and I know people are here to speak, and I'll look forward to hearing their comments.
Okay, I'm going to first turn to my other colleagues if they have any other comments on this item. Hardy? Sue? Okay. I will just say that the county has supported Pride Month in a number of ways over the past few years, providing booths at the picnic, providing services. So this is, to me, a continuation of our support, and that's why we placed it where it is. Okay, so I'm going to open public comments. We're getting there. So if you would like to make a public comment on this item, come on up. You have 3 minutes. For those who haven't done this before, at 3 minutes, the mic will turn off automatically. We're not trying to be rude, but we're trying to keep it moving. We do have a 10 o'clock item, and I want to make sure everyone gets a chance to speak, but I do need to keep this moving. Yeah, you can line up if you'd like. Yeah, absolutely. All right, go ahead.
Thanks. I actually didn't even know this item was on the agenda. I'm here for something. I didn't even know this item was on the agenda, so thank you for postponing it and giving me the chance to comment, because I'm here for other things. I have a gay son and a transgender daughter, and you cannot understand the trauma and turmoil and pain that these kids have gone through just to get to the point to accept themselves for who they are. And then for them to experience what's going on at the national level in the way that transgender people have been vilified and used for political gain and treated as inhuman. It's absolutely disgusting. My children are beautiful children, and they live here in Nevada County. They love Nevada County, but it's been very, very hard for them. My younger son, who's gay, was bullied for the first 2 years of school. He was told that he should be rolled up in a carpet and burned. He was told that he should shoot himself. He was told that God does not love him. He was called the F word as he walked down the halls of school. My daughter, who's the most liberal person I know, is considering gun ownership because she fears for her safety. When she worked at Heartwood, she would park across the bridge, and I would make her call when she left Heartwood and got to her car, and then when so I knew it was okay that she was coming home. These kids live in fear every day. They're just trying to be themselves and accept themselves for who they are. There's no way to change them. They're people, and they're born that way, and it's taken a lot of difficult energy for them to accept themselves. And if we could designate a National Pride Month by Nevada County, that would be a beautiful statement to them. It would help them know that there are people who love them and care for them just as they are, even though all the headlines in the news are saying otherwise. So thank you, that's my comment. And my question that's not clear to me is, when do we comment on item 14B? When?
Okay, thank you for your comment. Anything, yeah, there will be a time to comment on the other items specifically. Sorry, I did not say that. Okay, thanks. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm here as a proud member of this community and also as the vice chair of Nevada County Pride. Both Nevada City and Grass Valley have issued proclamations. Nevada City is in perpetuity. And as the lady before me so eloquently spoke, our children are listening and watching. Members of this community, both LGBTQ+ and our allies, are elected officials, they're law enforcement, they're clergy, they're teachers, they are business owners, they are white collar and blue collar across the spectrum. And they're watching today, and they're listening today for all of the work that Nevada County Pride has been telling the people that belong to Nevada County Pride, that this county, that law enforcement, that elected officials support them and see them and know that they're equal and they're not listening to the vilification that's happening. If this board votes against this proclamation, that sends a very clear message to these members of this community. So I ask you to please consider declaring that Nevada County recognizes June the same as it's been recognized in city and states across the country as Pride Month. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Good morning, Supervisor Hall and other supervisors. My name is Lou Cece. I'm a resident of Nevada City. I'm also a member of the Nevada City Council. I'm a small business owner. I'm on 3 county commissions. I am clerk of the vestry of my church at Holy Trinity here in Nevada City. I run a small business, and I'm the author of 3 young adult children's books. I don't list all that to boast. I'm listing it to make 2 points. One is that I am a gay man who is committed to the well-being and future of this community. And that goes both in my civic obligations, my church obligations, my membership in the local Rotary. And the other is to say that all of those things that I just listed would have been impossible the year I was born, because they were either illegal, the church was against it, the Rotary would not accept you as a member, or there was significant social approbation about being an out gay man. Things have changed in 75 years. Now is not the time to go backwards. Now is the time to make gestures, even if they are symbolic for some, because they say to the community as a whole, we see you, we acknowledge you as members of our community, and you are safe here. Please support the resolution and proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Good morning. My name is Jax. I'm a Nevada County resident, and I actually came today thinking this would be non-controversial because respect for everybody is non-controversial. There's no controversy in respecting our entire community. And so I didn't expect to speak, but I wanted to confirm that that is non-controversial since the subject was raised. I also want to say that including all these things that were listed, that folks in the community, in the queer community, are part of our community, they're also voters. I think that's important to note because I was recently at the Nevada Union Joint High School meeting where we were asking for what I call the inclusion resolution to be passed, but the All Students Matter resolution. And they also symbolically brought that forward, and it was denied, and to the devastation of a lot of students, including 2 of my own, that identify as non-binary. So this is so important to the kids. As has been mentioned, they're watching this, they go to those meetings, and it's just really critical. When kids feel loved and accepted, they don't get so mischievous. You know, when kids feel loved and accepted, they're not more inclined to violence. I mean, all kids, whether they're part of the queer community or not. So that's something important to remember, and I hope that you'll support the proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Megan Wells. I'm also a board member of Nevada County Pride, and I grew up here in Nevada County and left to go away to the university and then start a career in the Bay Area, and assessed about 4 years ago whether or not this was a county I could return to and live safely and vibrantly in. And when I returned and started spending more time here and assessing that, I saw a calendar of events. I saw dance parties and book clubs and support groups and drag brunches and an online presence through Facebook groups and Instagram hashtags that did not exist when I was growing up here as a closeted teen. And it was that thread of vibrancy that helped me move back, that helped me demonstrate to my trans and non-binary partner that we could live safe and a safe and beautiful life here, that we could transition our thriving queer-centered business to be a thriving queer-centered business here in Nevada County. And I want that thread to continue. I want our community to continue to feel safe, to put on events, to gather, and to create more inclusion and ultimately have a ripple effect that I think is far greater than just the LGBTQ community, just inclusion. I think this really stands as a testament to supporting all marginalized communities. And I think that this proclamation and passing this is a nod of support to the individuals and groups of LGBTQ plus residents who have worked really tirelessly, often without recognition and often against very hard opposition, to ensure that the reputation of Nevada County and that the lived experience here is one of safety and beauty. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Good morning. I'm not fully awake. This is early for me, but my name's Andrew Rust. I'm also on the board of Nevada County Pride. And public speaking is not one of my fortes, so I'm a little nervous standing up here. This proclamation for me would be a permission to feel safe in my own skin and to feel worthy, to feel they are enough. I think this county, I've been here for over 30 years. I enjoy living in this county, and I'd love to see this county embrace its community. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to pause 1 minute and see if anybody is called in.
No callers, Chair.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Danielle Vanneman. I'm also on the board of Nevada County Pride. I'm the director of a local nonprofit. We serve kids' mental health needs here in Nevada County. We are grateful for the county's support of the work that we are doing, both with the Pride events and with families. I want to speak on behalf of our children, and I'm not sure if everyone here knows, but almost half of trans and non-binary youth attempt suicide. I want to give you a moment to let that sink in, and this is your opportunity to tell them that they matter, that their lives are worth living, and that they can grow up to contribute to our community and to this world. As long as they have the support of the adults around them, they have so much better odds of surviving. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Michael Hildebrand Estrada. I am owner of Nevada City Crepes. My husband and I moved to Nevada City during the pandemic. We did not move here expecting such a vibrant community that we found, and truly a home. I find it interesting that you are not voting on this because of controversy. I assume you brought up DOJ, And so I assume you've been reading the newspapers over the weekend and the discussion about Harvard and the things that the president is bringing up and concerns. But one of your item agendas has to do with Harvard College and the association with it. So after reading the headlines this weekend, I would think that's almost controversial. This resolution is not controversial. It is about awareness. It is about embracing people. It is about the colors of a rainbow flag. It's inclusion, not exclusion.
Thank you. Any callers?
No callers.
Okay, anybody else want to make public comment?
To you all. Ingrid Jord. I've lived in the county for 24 years now. And my accent and my words get heavier when I try to speak in public, so bear with me. The previous speaker was talking about the beauty of the flags, and that's why I want to stand here and talk to you. I'm not a member of any board anywhere in the county. I'm just a citizen. I am a citizen. And what I would like to say is that I have come to walk around. I walk every day in the town around Nevada City, and I've come to anticipate with joyous expectation. I'm anticipating the month of June when I will see the flags in Nevada City. And suddenly when they are up, it's like all the people in town are blooming. And I compare it to, we have Bridgeport and the wildflower walk in Bridgeport, where I go and look at all the flowers, and I'm not looking at them and trying to pick some of them out and thinking it would be so much more beautiful if you weren't here. And the month of June in Nevada City, I have the same feeling. I walk around and I don't want to pick anybody out at all. I want to include all the beautiful people in all the colors. And yeah, that's my take on it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to close public comment and bring it back to the board. Do any of my colleagues want to make any comments or have any statements, questions?
I would make a motion to approve item number 3, declaring June as Pride Month in Nevada County.
Yep. Can I say a couple words? Maybe I should have waited till after the public comments to speak, and just a couple of clarifications. Number one, because it was brought up, I didn't suggest that we shouldn't vote because it was controversial. I suggested it shouldn't be on the consent agenda, and I'll stand by that. Controversial items should not be on the consent agenda. It's the very definition of it. Now, whether we all think it's controversial or not, we can talk about that. But I think reasonable people would agree it's a controversial subject, whether it should be or not. And when I speak of a resolution, I said it before, I'm not speaking to any of the stories you shared or the members of the marginalized community. I'm talking about the resolution. And I'll go back to my colleague from Nevada City, who I think at every meeting I've been to with him, he brings up DOGE. And that's not because he's against government efficiency. He's against the bigger picture. It's a nuanced discussion. So using that logic, if we were to bring up a resolution supporting DOGE, I'm sure most of you in here would vote against it. It's not because you're against the stated purpose of government efficiency. It's because it's a more nuanced conversation and it's controversial. And so I think there's sort of a false parallel there that someone could be against the resolution as written or this forum for it, and that automatically we make the leap that me or any of my colleagues are against marginalized communities, or we don't support the idea behind this. So I just want to clarify that. I haven't spoken in any way derogatory towards the communities that you're talking about. So I would just caution us about making that jump, that if I don't think it should be on the consent agenda is because I think we should not be voting on something controversial. That's not the case. It should not be on the consent agenda, in my opinion. And I think the emotion and the stories you've shared demonstrates that it is a ongoing, controversial, maybe I should use a better word. It's, yeah, we'll pick another word, but it's not a routine, anyway. So, yeah, I would caution against reading in to my or other intentions in the process of voting for this and jumping to the conclusion that we don't support or are empathetic to the very things you were talking about. And once again, my broader kind of position is that it's such a nuanced conversation and there's so many personal emotions to have it here. I'm glad I pulled it because we got to hear those stories, but it's not something that I think a symbolic resolution in this short amount of time is something that maybe is the best way to proceed. So, yeah, I'm happy to entertain the motion to vote.
Thanks. Sorry, I have allergies. Also, I can second your motion, but I just wanted to say that I do support the resolution 100%, support the gay, transgender community. I've gone out of my way to support that population in Eastern County and that group of our community members. We had a very similar discussion in East County regarding flags and the placement of flags in town, and I saw it as an opportunity to stand up for all the individuals in our community, regardless of our sexual orientation, our gender identity, or the color of our skin, or anything else. I think it's also incumbent upon me as an elected official to defend people that feel like they can't be defended in other processes or other places. And I like to think Nevada County and our county and the people of our county have done a great job making it known that that's what we stand for and that's what I stand for. So I'll second your motion.
All right. I am proud to have brought this resolution, and I'll be proud to support it as well. I'll call for a vote.
District 5.
Yes.
District 2.
I'll abstain.
District 4.
Yes.
District 3.
Yes.
District 1.
Yes. All right, the motion is passed. Thank you, everyone. Okay, we're now going to go into general public comment, and these are for items that are not on the agenda. And to clarify, thank you for raising that earlier, there will be time to comment on each of the items on the agenda when that item is presented. Okay, so general comment is now open. Go ahead, Barbara.
I just want to thank all of you for coming, and I want to say that remember Mr. Rogers. Remember what Mr. Rogers said? You are special and unique. There's nobody like you.
Barbara, please speak to the board.
Nobody like you. And I want to say that I was sorry, Rob, that you had to have these comments, but we're in the constitutional,
But
right?
Barbara, this is about items not on the agenda. Thank you.
So let me go ahead. I think we're in a constitutional crisis, basically. And I think we have to come up on a moral level, not just, having to do with our system. So, most of you know that I worked in the county for 40 years with individuals with Alzheimer's disease and their family caregivers in a variety of settings. And I'm bringing this up, and even I sent you a letter, I don't know if you had time to read it, regarding the Trump administration cutting valuable, services through Medi-Cal. Almost $700 billion is proposed to be cut. Now, I know that that Lisa, that you're on the Area 4 Agency, Council, but I just want to tell you as a personal experience what this is going to mean. When we don't have Meals on Wheels, we don't have transportation, we don't have the IHSS program, when we don't have the support for our family caregivers and their loved ones, we're going to see such an influx of people in skilled nursing facilities and in the ER. You better believe it. And the skilled nursing facilities, my experience, are already overrun. They don't have enough staff. They're not trained properly in working with people with Alzheimer's disease. And guess what's going to happen? They're not going to be able to take them. It's already overburdened, as we saw with COVID and what happened. So all I want to say is that sometimes, even though it's controversial, we have to rise on a moral level, because these things are not going to go away, and they're going to affect our county in so many profound ways. So I know that on June 4th, the League of Women Voters are going to have a meeting here to do with some of these cuts. And I think, Lisa, you're on the, you're on that panel. I would hope that you would have people, it doesn't have to be me, but people that have worked in the trenches for 40 years. Not just an administrative, not just.
Okay, Barbara, thank you. Go ahead.
For the record, my name is Gordon Gossage of Regenesis Planet. I arrived in Nevada County on April 7th to collaborate with our 100,000 neighbors to design Spirit Well Ranch, a regenerative, transformational, and creative community of 750 acres, 61 homes, 61 ADUs, and approximately 240 residents. Our community will be designed through the lens of deliberative democracy, guided by the principles championed by Beth Simone Novick of the Governance Lab at Northeastern University. Ideally, Spirit Well Ranch will be a component of a broader community-led response to the housing crisis impacting most of our neighbors in Nevada County. A statistically representative sample of about 500 residents will be invited to study our housing challenges in depth, deliberate thoughtfully, and produce solutions reflecting the collective intelligence and shared values of our community. Spirit Well Ranch will be mixed income, intergenerational, diverse in housing types. Potential neighbors will be selected with input from trusted influencers within 6 affinity groups and will live interwoven throughout the community, not divided by background, but sharing a unity of purpose. Prospective neighbors will self-identify with one or more affinity groups by rating their agreement on a scale from 0 to 10 with the following statements. We should do more to preserve the values of our Western heritage. I support the introduction of new values not typically held by our neighbors born in Nevada County before 1990. I'm listed in the 1950 federal census for Nevada County, or I'm descended from someone who is. I'm a follower of Jesus. I describe myself as Latino or Hispanic. I'm an enrolled member of a federally or state-recognized tribe or identify as indigenous with ancestors who lived within current U.S. borders before the arrival of white settlers. I'm an educator in Nevada County serving pre-K through 12th grade. Let's ask ourselves, if our country's future can't be created here, where will it be? If not us, then who? Let's unify as one community to co-create our own future.
Thank you. Any callers, Loriana?
We have one caller, Chair.
Okay, let's bring them in.
Yes, there's always one, Heidi. I've been cut off several times while I've been waiting to make a public comment. I think that we still have ongoing problems with the availability of the meetings to the public, and that's definitely a problem in violation of Brown Act, as a matter of fact. I just wanted to bring up two things, water and fire. Water, the person down at the river, who knows where she's at, lodged in a rock somewhere, waiting for someone to find a decomposing body. The signage at the river, how we're using the river has been just accident waiting to happen. It's year after year. We have drowning after drowning. And it's ridiculous that we don't close certain sections for usage during certain times, as would anyone do with a dangerous situation. And that goes for fire too. We have fire after fire, escaped fires. No one ever gets fined. We put these tools in place for you guys and for the fire department to find people that are continually having these out of control burns that cost a lot of money. And no one gets fined. No one gets ticketed. It's just an educational thing. Well, we're paying for the education. We're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to have the fire department sit down at Edwards Crossing and 49 and tell people how dangerous it is, and they don't give a shit. We have hundreds of thousands of dollars in responses to these fires to tell people, hey, you have to stand by your burn pile. You have to have a permit. You can't just burn trash. It is just ridiculous what's going on. As I walk through Empire Mine and around the homeless camps in the area and look at all the fire pits, this is going to be a really critical year. And you guys want to waste your time on international problems and topics and hot button topics? That's great. Let's save and do health and safety for Nevada County first. Fire and water safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Go ahead, here. You can come up for your public comment.
Yes, good morning. My name is Bruce Anderson. I'm a real estate broker, builder, developer. And I came here in 1971, and I was immediately taken aback by how terrible our roads were in Nevada County, our rural roads. I was here and witnessed the devastation of the 49er fire, and that has become an unfortunate omen of the wildfires that are all part of the norm now in California. I'd like to thank you all for your efforts in extending the fire safety issues on the roads. And I have built over 300 homes up and down Highway 49, and I think I'm one of the high-dollar contributors to the fire funds, the school funds, the park funds, the road funds. And I would like to say that I'm here because of the implementation of the fire code is way out of balance on one of the parcels that I have a listing on to sell. My client has been called back to Alabama, and he no longer lives in Nevada County, although we can't sell his property because the cost of the fees for complying with the fire codes greatly exceeds the value of his property. We were in escrow at $200,000, and now even with the help of a number of people here, it's still the implementation of those things that we're adding to the road is over $300,000. So I ask for your assistance in someone who has been a proponent and helped with the fire safety, and to look at this specific instance and get an exemption which would be reasonable relative to the cost of the improvements and the. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll have someone, staff, follow up with you. All right. Thank you.
Chair Hall, we've been in contact, and he's been connected with our agency director, and I have personally talked with him at length on this issue, and we're communicating back to Supervisor Tucker.
Okay, thank you. Great. Go ahead, Lee.
Good morning, Board. Lee French, resident of Alta Sierra. I want to encourage everyone to attend tonight's meeting on the ordinance for RVs and trailers. And I'm sure that not everyone has received the information as to what this entails. However, it does seem to be invasive to the property owners, from what I know right now, who have worked all their lives to retire and to enjoy the beauty of their investment in the county. And I fear that in the future that this could impact the visitors to our county by taking away from the historical value. Once again, I want to encourage everyone tonight, and I hope that most of the board or all of the board will be there to listen to it and make input. I will certainly be there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just thought I'd throw out some general comments while I'm here. My name's Allison Paulus. I run Gold Country Avian Studies.
Can you just talk right into the microphone or bring it up there for you? Thank you.
I'm Allison Paulus. I run Gold Country Avian Studies. I'm an ornithologist, so I study birds and research birds in the county. I run a bird banding station at Empire Mines State Historic Park. And I wanted to put out to all of you that what I and other members of the birding community are seeing in the county, whether it's Grass Valley or Nevada City, is really very frightening in terms of the effects that fire control, vegetation management projects may have on our avian populations. We're removing the entirety of the understory and leaving no areas for birds to nest and breed, take cover from predators, etc. There needs to be a more nuanced approach to these projects with more input and more acknowledgement of science and better practices, things like leaving patchy, heterogeneous areas that are not just simply clear-cut underneath the overstory, because it really just leaves no areas for birds to breed. The majority of birds actually breed near or on the ground, not just up in the height of trees. So my birding group and I, we visit these areas over and over again, and we are going to places where we used to hear birds, and we're not hearing them anymore because there just aren't places for them to take cover. I also feel that I know that the VTP program is not an appropriate method to adequately address the biodiversity that we have in this county. The notification process around the VTP seems to be null, and there simply isn't the opportunity for members of the community or scientists, et cetera, to comment appropriately on projects where they're looking at clearing vegetation in areas where birds and other wildlife need to use as habitat. So thank you. I hope you'll just, again, take a more nuanced approach to clearing and reconsider use of the Cal VTP program.
Thank you. We'll look into that. Thank you. Any other comments? Any other callers?
No callers, Chair.
Okay, we're going to close public comment. Thanks, everyone, for coming down and sharing your thoughts with us. Does anyone need a break here on the board or staff? Okay, then we're going to go into department head matters. Item 14, A through C, Office of Emergency Services Director, Alex Keeble-Toll. Come on down.
All righty. Good morning, Chair Hall and members of the board. I'm Alex Kuhl-Toll, your Director of Emergency Services. And this morning, I am bringing you environmental clearance for 4 hazardous fuel reduction projects in western Nevada County. These include our Woodpecker Ravine Phase 1 project, which is funded by CAL FIRE, our South Yuba Rim Phase 1 project, which is funded by FEMA HMGP and Cal OES, our Ponderosa Phase 1 maintenance project, which is funded by U.S. Forest Service and County of Nevada, and our Ponderosa Phase 2 project, which is funded by U.S. Forest Service and County of Nevada as well. Each of these 4 projects takes place across private land in Nevada County. Getting to this point took more than a year of coordination with hundreds of landowners to obtain right of entry, to complete treatment design, and to conduct the necessary botanical, wildlife, and cultural surveys for environmental compliance. In sum, our OES team worked with 5 different consultants, including registered professional foresters, environmental service professionals, and our partner on the South Yuba Rim project, Yuba Watershed Institute. We held town halls, conducted field visits, and had extensive correspondence with residents in the project areas. All 4 of these projects use the California Vegetation Treatment Program, or CalVTP, for environmental compliance. The CalVTP is a programmatic environmental impact report which was prepared by the Board of Forestry and CAL FIRE. It covers 20 million acres of non-federal fire-prone land in California and was really prepared to enable efficiencies of the CEQA process by allowing project sponsors to build on known and verified analysis as they begin site-specific environmental review for individual projects. The vegetation modification actions proposed under the 4 projects being brought before you today align with those analyzed under the CalVTP with no new or more severe impacts than those found in the programmatic EIR. A project-specific analysis was prepared for each of the projects in question, Woodpecker Ravine, South Yuba Rim. Note that the Ponderosa Phase 1 and Phase 2 project areas are contiguous, so they're together in the analysis. And even though these analyses leverage the CalVTP, each project-specific analysis is very thorough, hundreds of pages long, about 400 pages per analysis. This gives you a little flow chart of what going through this process looks like. So for each project, there were desktop analysis components, then field surveys, coordination with appropriate agencies like U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and tribal consultation before technical reports were prepared. Each project-specific analysis was prepared to be determined to be within the scope of the programmatic EIR. These materials were reviewed by OES, staff, and your planning department and are being brought to you today. These shaded fuel break projects are now considered shovel-ready, meaning we're ready to implement, but because each project has a different funder, next steps all look a little bit different, so I want to spend the remainder of our time outlining what to expect for the different projects. So for Woodpecker Ravine Phase 1, CAL FIRE is funding both the planning and the implementation. OES has already identified 2 treatment vendors for this work using a competitive process with our qualified list of vendors. And so following board approval, we are ready to move forward and begin implementing on this project to complete by the end of the year. This is the original planning area for the Woodpecker Ravine Phase 1 project. And this is the treatment area where we landed. So after we get our right of entry, we do our treatment design and our environmental compliance. This is what we will actually be doing. So not everyone chooses to have these projects take place on their land. We have to make adjustments based on things like riparian corridors, et cetera, through the treatment design. And this is what we ended up with. It's 280 acres of hand thin and chip, which is in green, 18 acres of hand thin and pile, which is in brown dots, and then 72 acres of mastication, which is shown in purple. For the South Yuba Rim project, this is a FEMA and Cal OES funded phased project. So phase 1 ends in July. We will provide all of our deliverables to FEMA, who will then review those deliverables and ensure that we've met our due diligence. And the time frame between these phases is undetermined. So we really don't know when we'll actually get on the ground for the implementation of this project. This is the planning area. So in red, you're seeing the Cal OES and FEMA-funded planning area. We did put in there the BLM units in yellow to show where the Sierra Nevada Conservancy-funded planning area is, so you can see how contiguous this project is. The actual treatment area that will be funded by Cal OES and FEMA is shown in red. Those treatment areas were identified both through the treatment design and environmental compliance process and through extensive engagement with stakeholders, including the CAL FIRE Battalion Chief and other fire experts on the San Juan Ridge. Ponderosa Phase 1 maintenance and Phase 2, because they have the same funding mechanisms, really have the same trajectory, and there's uncertainty around this timeline, so that's why there's a lot of asterisks after May. So the federal funding for this project is not frozen. However, there are staff impacts within U.S. Forest Service, and so we've been waiting for approval of a scope modification to extend the timeline on this project, and so our next steps are contingent on that. Our treatment timing is contingent upon a few things, notably that the pre-implementation surveys of sensitive botanical species have to happen when those species are blooming. So we have to sync up some of those pre-implementation pieces. This is the Phase 1 project. So the planning area is about 1,200 acres. This was the area that was originally treated with the CAL FIRE funding that wrapped up March of 2022. Within that 1,200 acres, we've prioritized maintenance treatment on 728 acres. For Phase 2, as I mentioned, it will follow the same trajectory as Phase 1 maintenance. And really the takeaway is that these are the steps that we are hoping will take place with implementation in 2026. This is the planning area for Ponderosa Phase 2. And after right of entry, treatment design, and environmental compliance, this is the treatment area, which is 236 acres. And this final map shows you where these different projects stack on the larger landscape of Western Nevada County. So you can see where they are in relation to one another and in relation to other projects that are either planned, underway, or have been completed in Western Nevada County. So to conclude, our recommendation is that the board authorize environmental compliance for the Woodpecker Ravine Phase 1 shaded fuel break, the South Yuba Rim Hazardous Fuel Reduction Project, and Ponderosa West Grass Valley Defense Zone Phase 1 maintenance and Phase 2 projects through the California Vegetation Treatment Program, CalVTP, Programmatic Environmental Impact Report, and direct the Director of Emergency Services to sign and file the notices of determination for the projects with the Nevada County Clerk Recorder's Office. Now I'll open it up for questions.
Thank you, Alex. Very clear. Thank you for describing exactly where we are with each of those projects and who's funding them. We're going to discuss and take comment on all of the projects as a whole, and then we're going to vote on each one individually. So opening it up to my colleagues for any questions or comments. Nope. Lisa? Sue? No questions? Ready for it to start. Rob? None? Hardy?
Yeah, thank you for the thanks for the update. Just a quick question. There's a lot of trails and recreational assets kind of threaded through these areas. Is there will those trails be closed or signed or open or restored? Or I ask because the some of the Highway 20 corridor is still not reconstructed, so there's elements of those trails missing post fuels modification. Just wondering if anybody's talking about that.
Yeah, so you raise a good point. It was not specifically on my radar as far as how we plan to manage that as the implementation is actually taking place on private property. However, certainly there's the potential for impacts, I suppose, if equipment were being utilized in the vicinity of like some of our NID ditch trails and other ditch trails. So I will look into that with our treatment vendors and make sure that if there are impacts to trails, we appropriately notify the public, because I like to use the trails as much as anyone else, and we all want to get out there.
Yeah, Alex, you mentioned the delay, which has come out every time we discuss this project through the U.S. Forest Service. Can you tell us what kind of a delay we're in right now? Like, how long have you waited for a response?
Certainly. So we requested a scope modification last fall, so in October, and we've been waiting since October for approval of that. And it really, as I mentioned, impacts our ability to implement because there are specific times of the year where some of these surveys for sensitive species have to be done before we can get on the ground. We have gotten some indication that it will likely be approved, but until we actually have that signed approval in hand, we're in a bit of a holding pattern.
Okay, and have you availed yourself of all the tools we have, so letters and calls to everyone involved? You have?
Yeah,
Okay.
we have 4 projects that are all funded through the same U.S. Forest Service funding source, and the staff we deal with directly are helpful, but the staffing impacts are more widespread in terms of how they're holding our projects
Well,
up.
be sure to let us know if you need us to send another letter or make phone calls at our level. So thank you. And can you just address, I believe, the public comment earlier about the VTP process. Can you address what public comment is available, for what has been available for these projects?
Yeah, so the CalVTP is a programmatic EIR, and so basically as long as the project stays within the scope of the programmatic EIR, that document has already been approved. Certainly, we have engaged extensively with landowners. We set up survey forms so folks could provide feedback on the project. We're very interested to hear what folks have to say about the projects, but to be clear, this analysis has found the proposed actions to be within an improved environmental document, provided the mitigation measures that have been delineated are followed, and that's our intent.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other questions? I'm going to open it up for public comment.
Hi, I'm Allison Paulus. I'm an ornithologist, and I own 2 parcels spanning Deer Creek, immediately adjacent to the eastern edge of the Phase 2 Ponderosa project site. I personally have mapped 6 territories of yellow-breasted chats, a California species of special concern, in or immediately adjacent to the project site. The project site hosts a population of western pond turtles, a California species of special concern, up for federal listing as threatened. They share a pond in the ditch trail with the largest breeding population of Sierra newts that I know of, with 144 observed in one count. I've mapped dozens of species of native wildflowers throughout. The VTP is an inappropriate vehicle to record this vast diversity hosted by Deer Creek Canyon. It requires only a single bird survey period of sufficient duration, up to 3 weeks before treatment. Most importantly, there should be no allowance for work during breeding season from March through August. Notification of this for this project has been inadequate. Even though I'm a project neighbor, I've received no notification whatsoever, despite attending meetings, adding my name to email lists, and multiple requests to staff. The largest landowner within the project site didn't even know that this meeting was occurring, and this meeting is not listed on the project's website. VPP notification requirements are inadequate given the scale and nature of this project and the number of your constituents affected. For example, the VTP only requires 1 to 3 days notification for treatment, and apparently none to neighbors such as myself. The project is ill-placed and should be moved roughly 3/4 of a mile to the west into the scar of the 2017 Lobo fire, focusing instead on a simpler and much more affordable expansion of the existing North Ponderosa Dirt Road, which was originally created in the 30s as a fire break anyways. The project site is shady and relatively pristine because of the higher elevation of the southern ridgeline and angle of the sun create a shaded, cooler environment and moister soils. But the 8-year-old Lobo scar with extensive resprouting oaks, dense Scotch broom, standing dead wood, and downed lateral fuels poses a much bigger fire risk. Placing the project in the fire scar has the additional benefit of clearing these fuels. there's no funding for project maintenance. Your constituents simply don't have the funds nor the capacity to take on future maintenance themselves. The VTP program only requires that treatment effectiveness is assessed within 1 to 3 years of completion. However, cleared land that is not maintained rapidly fills with Scotch broom and non-native grasses, creating an even greater fire burden. Mastication should be avoided completely during bird breeding season and avoided in areas of Scotch broom due to seed dispersal.
Okay. Thank you. You know what? You can deliver your written remarks also if you'd like to make sure we get to see all of them. And Alex, that was a lot, but can you maybe respond to some of those comments, please?
Sure, absolutely. And I mean, I've been out in the field with Allison, as have our staff, as a resident of Nevada County. Definitely appreciate her feedback. And I think we're always trying to, straddle that balance between how do we get this work on the ground and how do we ensure that we're doing our due diligence, recognizing that we live someplace that is very special. As far as the placement of the project, I can tell you that the placement of the project was designed in conjunction with the expertise of CAL FIRE. This project was something that was identified in multiple years of the CAL FIRE Nevada Yuba Placer Unit strategic plan. So we were really taking our lead from our fire experts as far as project placement. In terms of maintenance is always a challenge. This project, we're coming back and we're doing maintenance on a project that CAL FIRE had previously funded. Our hope is that by doing these initial entries, we are giving landowners a leg up where if they take on that stewardship element themselves, they are able to carry that forward. Maintenance will always be a challenge. In terms of sensitive species and habitat for sensitive species, our registered professional foresters work very hard with private landowners to identify areas of treatment on their property that they feel comfortable with that still meet the intent of the project. They are willing to go out with each individual landowner and meet with them to hear their expectations and to customize that treatment so that if landowners are aware of areas on their property where there's sensitive species, that can be taken under consideration. And we're bringing forward 4 different projects. They've all got sensitive species of some nature within them. I think that's true of most places in Nevada County. The mitigation measures that are included in the CAL VTP, and given that these treatment proposals do not fall outside of that, do seem sufficient. There's not an intention to do work during nesting bird season. The shaded fuel break treatment itself does not intend to remove all vegetation. It's a removal of 75%, leaving 75% overstory and 50% understory, recognizing that there's a need for bird habitat. If sensitive species are noted, we will flag and avoid. Crews will be trained. We are really taking every step that we can reasonably take to get these projects on the ground in an environmentally sensitive way that still provides for the protection of loss of life and structure of our Nevada County residents.
Okay, thank you. And in terms of the notification, did we notify everyone as we were intending to?
So notification, landowners within the project area have known that the project was going forward and that the CAL VT was being wrapped up because they had environmental consultants out on the ground doing that survey work, doing that treatment design. The notifications were standard for CAL VTP. It's been published in the board agenda, and once these are approved, we were putting them up on the project websites.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I forgot. I should have finished public comment first. Any other public comment in the room? Any callers?
We have one caller, Chair.
Okay, let's take a caller.
Hi, this is Matthew Coulter, and I'd just like to agree with the ornithologist in Empire Mine. Our area has diminished rapidly. This particular year has been so bad for the bird population, and there's been more cutting during nesting season than I've ever seen before. 50 years here. And it's not just property owners. We have Mountain Enterprises for PG&E. We have AT&T. We have developers. So we have a lot of people clearing land right now. And clear cutting and taking it down to zero is what seems to be all the rage right now. And this includes going and masticating right into the creeks. No 30-foot setback required. They're masticating right into Wolf Creek, South Fork Wolf Creek, Little Wolf Creek. The city of Grass Valley has no concept of birds and wildlife. They were stopped with their Loma Rica Ranch project. They were going to masticate right to Wolf Creek, all the way up. And somebody enlightened them a little bit. And then they decided to have maybe farm it out. Well, it's going to cost too much money, so we got another season maybe with some habitat. But it's amazing how much stuff is being destroyed locally. And believe it or not, I saw a jackrabbit the other day. Super rare. I used to hunt every day as a child and usually get a rabbit a day. So it's just amazing how our environment has changed locally here, and the homeless population, as well as the influx of fences and access being cut off, has really been detrimental to the wildlife. And the regrowth of these places that have been treated are immense, where fires have been, and it's just worse than ever. So I encourage you to follow different projects. At 11 o'clock this morning, there's going to be a Measure E meeting for Grass Valley, overlapping meeting on these same topics. And it's unfortunate, but there's also a 9 o'clock development review committee meeting, which overlaps on these same projects for the city of Grass Valley. Please understand that it's not one project and the Forest Service involved with professionals. It's a lot of people with a hammer, pounding nails, a chainsaw, cutting trees, and fire, burning stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. I'm going to close public comment. I'll just come back to you briefly. Alex, are any of our county projects doing masticating near the creeks? And can you just address that?
Yeah, no, so we're flagging and avoiding riparian areas. As much as possible, our protocol is to flag and avoid.
Okay, thank you. Back to the board. Any other comments or questions? Okay, then we're gonna start with 14A. This is a resolution authorizing environmental clearance for the Woodpecker Ravine Phase 1 Shaded Fuel Break Project through the California Vegetation Treatment Program, Programmatic EIR, and directing the Director of Emergency Services to sign and file a notice of determination for the project with the Nevada County Clerk Recorder's Office. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
District 5,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 1.
Yes. 14B, resolution authorizing environmental clearance for the Ponderosa West Grass Valley Defense Zone Phase 1 Maintenance and Phase 2 projects to the California VTP, PEIR, and directing the Director of Emergency Services to sign and file the NOD for these projects with the Nevada County Clerk Recorder's Office.
So moved. Second.
Madam Clerk?
District,
Go ahead.
District 5,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 1.
Yes. And 14C, resolution authorizing environmental clearance for the South Yuba Rim Hazardous Fuels Reduction Project through the California VTP, PEIR, and directing the Director of Emergency Services to sign and file the NOD for this project with the Nevada County Clerk Recorder's Office.
So moved.
Second.
District 5,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 1.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Alex. Well done. Okay, we're going to go right into our scheduled item, if folks can hold off, or do you need a break? Okay. Okay, staff? Okay. Okay, item 15, Steve Rose. You're all done, Alex. This is a waive for the reading and adopting an ordinance approving an amendment to the contract between the Board of Supervisors of the Nevada County and Board of Administration of CalPERS. And I'll let you explain that, Steve.
Good morning, Chair, member of the board. This is a second reading to move our probation officers to safety retirement that I did 2 weeks ago. And it requires 2 readings prior to the adoption. So as a recap, we agreed to adding safety retirement to this group back in June of 2023 with an effective date on or after July 1st of 2025. So that's what this second reading is for. The positions to move are 24 positions. It's a impact of our budget, which was agreed upon in that MOU, which was brought to the board in June of 2023, of $199,000. The timeline for this is the 2 readings with an effective date of July 6th per the slide here. So this is the second reading to bring it to the public for comment. And pending any questions, I've already briefed this before, but I can answer any questions specifically if there are any.
Okay. My colleagues have any questions, comments? Any public comment on this item? Any callers?
No callers, Chair.
Okay, closing public item, back to the board. I'm looking for a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
District 5?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 1?
Yes. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Sorry, Alex, you're back. I could have swapped that, but I didn't. I wasn't swift enough. So now we are on our scheduled item, a public hearing to consider written and oral comments concerning the resolution approving the proposed reserve Title III spending plans for the fiscal year 23-24 and 24 and 25. And Alex, I'll let you explain that.
All righty. So good morning again, Chair Hall, members of the board. I'm Alex Kubel-Toll, your Director of Emergency Services, and we are here this morning for a public hearing to consider approval of the proposed projects and spending plan for the fiscal year 23-24 and fiscal year 24-25 Forest Reserve Title III funds. So the Secure Rural Schools and Community Self-Determination Act of 2000 was enacted to provide transitional assistance to rural counties affected by the decline in revenue from timber harvest on federal lands. Funds may be used in 3 categories: Firewise community activities, search, rescue, and emergency services, and community wildfire protection plans. Pursuant to the requirements of these funds, Nevada County published a 45-day public comment period, and we're now bringing our recommendations for approval. Under Category 1, we recommend $10,913 for Firewise community information dissemination. And under Category 3, we recommend $54,000 for Tablet Command incident management software. Over the years, OES has made reinvestment of Title III funds into our community a priority. This year, for the second year in a row, we're offering Firewise communities the opportunity to pre-order materials for distribution in their neighborhoods. So we have a form up. They can request specifically which materials they would like and in what amounts. We pre-package those orders, and then Firewise community leaders can come pick up those materials of their choosing to distribute into their communities. So approval of the spend plan for this item will allow us to fulfill those orders timely, to make sure that we can order exactly what our Firewise communities want from a multitude of items, not just informational items. Tote bags have been incredibly popular for folks to package those items for welcome to the neighborhood, be Firewise kind of but packages for folks. And this allows us to push out consistent and actionable information to our force multipliers in the community. So these are some of the different materials that folks can request. We are also recommending for our second spend, the Tablet Command Incident Management Software, which your board saw a presentation on earlier this year. This is essentially a software that would be providing access for law, fire, first responders, OES, everyone, both sides of the summit. This software allows for global situational awareness so that everyone has awareness of incidents that are happening, even if they're not directly involved. It allows for shared operating picture. Everyone can see what's going on, where resources are, how they're going to be deployed. It has automatic vehicle locator, which allows those vehicles that are closest to the incident to be deployed. We've worked in partnership with Nevada County Consolidated, all of our law and fire and first responders, and specifically City of Grass Valley, who actually purchased the Tablet Command software up front, and then we established an MOU with them committing to reimburse for this. Numerous trainings have taken place here in board chambers, and we're really excited to be able to potentially move forward with this. So that's our second recommendation for the Title III spend plan. Overall, our recommendation is for the board to approve the proposed Title III spending plan for the fiscal year 23-24 and fiscal year 24-25, designating City of Grass Valley as $54,000 for the Tablet Command, and designate the Office of Emergency Services as $10,913 for Firewise information dissemination. Now we'll open it up to questions.
All right, thank you, Alex. I'll turn it over to my colleagues for questions and comments. And Lisa, start with you.
Sure, I just have a quick comment. Thank you for the work on this. I really like the information component that you're putting out. I think it's easy for people to understand it. So I think having that be disseminated throughout the county is going to be really important. And on the tablet issue, I had the opportunity to preview it with Grass Valley's fire chief. The technology is pretty amazing. Hopefully, at some point, they can maybe come back and do a presentation for the full board. I'm not particularly tech savvy, but I was very impressed with how clear it was. And I think it's so important, especially in fire season coming up, that each agency knows where the other agency is and what they're responding to. They can see it in real time. It was very impressive to see the little red marks where there was a traffic accident right here, and this is who responded. So I think that it's really going to help improve the efficiency of public safety all around. So thank you for making that happen.
No, yeah, I don't have any questions. Thanks, Alex. I think this is a great opportunity. It helps our community for sure. And then that was impressive. I remember we had it here, and they did a demonstration on it. So it's pretty interesting to watch that move in real time from one street to the other. I thought that was, yeah, so kudos. I think it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. I remember the demo, and I definitely support it. I just had a quick question on the Firewise community information. There's kind of been a void space of support for Firewise communities based on a number of different factors in the last couple of years. Are we confident that this is the only need, or are there other funding streams that are going to support those community members? Because I get a lot of constituents who are, expressing interest in being supported, and they're also volunteering or contributing a lot of their own time and resources locally. So I just want to confirm that you feel confident, not to say detracting from the tablet piece, because I appreciate that exercise in the demo, but just maybe fill us in a little bit on any sort of support of the community, Firewise communities.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we currently have a request for proposals out for Firewise communities, HOAs, road associations, NGOs, et cetera, to submit proposals that are for a larger microgrant program between $10,000 and $60,000 for vegetation management activities with a priority for work along private roads. So that's how we're supporting kind of that on-the-ground implementation piece that we hear from Firewise communities that is so difficult for them to get funding for. I can tell you that we have been working with the new Fire Safe Coalition of Nevada County, and that's part of the impetus behind our request to have funding to disseminate additional materials, because they will place an order with us and we will push those materials through that coalition so that our Firewise communities are getting access to those resources. It's obviously, a multi-tiered approach. We're always hoping that people are going to get that information and use that as a force multiplier, and then we're going to be able to come in with resources for implementation. So certainly it's on our radar to find additional opportunities to provide smaller micro grants to Firewise communities, because those are very popular. And we'll just continue to look for those opportunities to support kind of at all levels, not just the information piece, but the actual implementation, and then providing ways for those folks to organize and meet, such as at the Madeline Helen Library.
Awesome. Thanks for summarizing that.
Alex, I have one question. So are these the microgrants where you're requiring a one-to-one match by the Firewise communities?
That is correct.
Okay. I've received quite a few comments that that's an impossible reach for some of the smaller ones. So maybe that's something we could look at in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, we have great resources in terms of virtual office hours, and our registered professional forester is able to talk folks through that. But yeah, we understand it is a stretch. Ideally, folks can use their sweat equity or their volunteer labor and track that, and that will give them a leg up in terms of meeting that match consideration.
Yeah, I understand why you're doing that, but some of the comments in particular were it's a lot of older folks doing volunteer work and they can't do the amount of staff, personnel hours that would be required to meet the match. It's just something to consider, but thank you. Okay, any other comments?
Just one comment in regard to the microgrant. I know we talked about this a little bit in budget subcommittee, but I appreciate the fact that we're looking for money for vegetation management. But if we could also be looking for money to help people potentially with fire suppression issues as well, I think that is really important to some of these neighborhoods. While some in my district, it's a little more urbanized, so most of the people are able to do the vegetation management on their roads. But putting in water storage or putting in a fire hydrant or other things that help with fire suppression is important. And I know the one community I'm working with is 100% in for a match, and they've already contacted. They have a really large Firewise district. It actually spans 3 of our supervisorial districts. So just a little plug for looking for some grant funding to help with fire suppression as well as vegetation management.
Okay, let's open it up for public comment. Do we have any callers?
There are no callers, Chair.
Okay, close public comment, bring it back to the board. And I'm looking for a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
District 5,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 1.
Yes, and that was a motion to accept the presentation, to be clear. All right, thank you, Alex. Okay, we are going to not break, as it says on my thing. We're going to go into our announcements, and then we're going to take a break, and we'll go into closed session. And then we will have public comment before closed session, and the only reason we will come back out is to report out from closed session. So let's do our announcements, and Sue, I think I was starting with you. But, okay, we can, who is ready? Who would like to start? You're going to skip? Okay, Rob, you want to? Okay, Lisa? You would?
I've got a few. I'll be
Okay.
really brief. So in the last couple of weeks, I have continued to meet with the city of Grass Valley on some of their issues. I met with Fran Cole, the outgoing executive director of Sammy's Friends, to kind of hear what's going on with the shelter and what her future plans are. I finished the budget subcommittee meetings, quite the feat. I attended ad hoc fire committee meeting last week. I think one of the more fun things I got to do the last couple of weeks was I attended the Citizens Academy graduation, and had the opportunity to do a Q&A with the attendees. A really great, engaged group of people. Several of them have already reached out to me for meetings to find out how they can become more involved in the community. So I realize the importance of that program, but listening to the comments from the participants this year was really rewarding. Last Wednesday, I attended the Bright Futures for Youth Friendship Club, their graduation, and it's also their 30th anniversary this year. So I, as a founding board member, I gave a little talk about the importance and the great work that that organization does in the community. I went to Chico last week for a NORTEC meeting. Friday night, I attended the Law Enforcement Appreciation Dinner that's put on by the Nevada City Elks, and it was a really nice event. The law enforcement agencies gave out awards to some of their employees. And then yesterday, I attended the Memorial Day ceremony at Memorial Park, and also the dedication of the street to Lou Contour. It was a really lovely ceremony, very well attended, and they did a great job. And then I was driving around later in the day. They do bridge tours, and it was great to see the people at the bridges honoring our fallen soldiers by having those bridges named after them.
Great, thank you. So you want me to go next? I can go next. I'm good, I'm gonna skip. Okay, I'll go next. Yes, we wrapped up our budget subcommittee, which went so well this year. It was very smooth. I want to thank Erin and her team for putting that together. I want to thank the department heads and their analysts who all came in really well prepared and could answer all our questions, and really just commend everyone for making that, for improving that process every year. So thank you to everyone. I did get to open our art and public spaces a week or two ago. It's always a great event. I think we're getting more and more people as they are aware that we're promoting public art in public spaces right here in the Rood Center. You always want to encourage people to come to those. I did miss some of the other events because I was at a NACO board meeting in South Dakota last week. As a reminder that this is paid for by CSAC because I'm representing CSAC as well as the counties on that board. We did some administrative work, changing some bylaws and changing some committees. We had almost 2.5 hour presentation on the federal impacts to counties, because this is a excuse me, a county association that needs to represent every county and every viewpoint. What they did was focus solely on the impacts to the counties for administering the changes that are coming down from the feds. So, for example, if they want to move up the workforce requirement for SNAP, and they would have to change that program. Administering that change is going to cost in multiple tens of millions of dollars across the country. And they did some breakdown for specific counties. So if I can get that material, I will share that. The news is quite dire. This wasn't even looking at the impacts on humans for the Medicaid cuts and the SNAP cuts and so on. And part of the problem is there are something like 27 agencies, and every agency is going through this review. And so every agency is going to make changes, and that's going to impact our programs in multiple ways from multiple agencies. So they're going to continue to assess this and provide that sort of information to us, and I will share anything I can get on that with all of you. I did get to briefly attend the Citizens Academy graduation and give out certificates. I left Lisa for the fun stuff. And I've had a lot of constituent meetings lately. And I got to stand in for Lisa to do the youth awards in Pioneer Park this Saturday morning, which were fantastic. It's put on by Public Health and the Friday Night Live program. Hadn't been done for about 10 years, and a couple of student leaders decided they wanted to pull that together and work with our staff and the school staff, and did a really great job recognizing a whole number of youth for outstanding public service, for outstanding. Volunteerism is really great. It was well attended. And I hope they bring that back every year again. It had happened for a number of years before that hiatus. So that was lovely. And Allison, do you have any items?
No, I'll pass this week too.
Okay, Jeffrey? Okay. All right then.
One thing.
Yeah,
Can I go back
go
now?
for it.
Okay, first I want to say, one, I got to experience the all hands with CAL FIRE. It was an incredible event to celebrate what CAL FIRE does here in our community, the badge pinning. And I would suggest anybody go onto their website and see the video that was done for what they did just the last year. It was really amazing, the time and what goes into protect our community. So anyway, that was an awesome event. Just when we were talking about all these things we did together. And I just want to shout out the Sheriff Honor Guard flag raising we did here at, was very well done. Sheriff Moon and the team just, it was very solemn, but yet a wonderful experience. And there were so many people that came out and shared that experience with us in the morning. That was great. So those were two big things that just happened. But I want to go back to AT&T, my nemesis. So I'm working on an ad hoc committee that's dealing with this because there's legislation going through that's a bit challenging. As we all know, we're looking forward. We want to see broadband. We want to see the technology and those things come to our rural communities, but we know it's going to be a while. And we believe that these old POTS lines are probably still the most efficient and secure that we have here. And of course, AT&T would like to give up that designation of they're supposed to take care of us, right? That's their job. There are anyway, back to this. I get off track here because this is so frustrating to me. I need people to know they're required to give you a landline. That is their responsibility in our area, Nevada County. That is their job. There may be some little pockets of Frontier or those here, but AT&T, that is their job. And I just want people to know you can call me if you're feeling frustrated. You can turn in complaints to the CPUC. I think it's very important. People get called and they actually feel a little bullied. They get told, no, your service is outdated, we aren't doing that, it's not available. Well, they are available, they have to be made available. And I really feel at this time it's really important. It's kind of been a little bit quiet as it moves through legislation because they're doing this differently than through the CPUC. They want to get this changed legislative so that they're not why am I drawing a blank on that word, Heidi? Yeah, they're the, carrier of last resort. I don't know where that left my head. You'd think I'd know it by heart. And there's some interesting information in the legislation that we look for, but I think everybody should, if you have that issue, is let people know what you think. We live in a high fire danger area. POTS lines are the most effective, and we're not ready to give up with them. Their sheriff has spoke in different counties of the importance of this, and emergency services, some of their services, AT&T, they're not available here in Nevada County. So if you have those issues, still call me, send me an email, send your complaints to the CPUC. If you want a landline, make them follow through. They need to give you a landline. That's their responsibility. So I'm going to continue on this for a while. It just has been a little bit quiet as it goes through the legislative process. I don't think people realize that that's happening. And I think it's very important that people let the importance of this be known to rural communities.
Thank you for your leadership on that, Sue. And maybe we could do a social media post on that and even provide folks with where they can write letters or make comments. That's important that we stay loud on that. Thank you. Kit, can you read us into a closed session, please?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Chair Hall. So item number 17, we are going into closed session for the purpose of reviewing positions and instructing our designated labor negotiators and representatives. They are listed as on the agenda, and the bargaining units are also listed as on the agenda.
Thank you. Any public comment on that? Any callers?
There are no callers, Chair.
Okay, closing public comment. We will take a quick break. My colleagues will take a 5-minute break and then meet for our closed session. And then we'll only come back out to adjourn the meeting and read it out. Thank you, everybody.
please. Just making sure we're live. Yes, with regard to the closed session, information was provided to the board.
Thank you. I don't need public comment on that, right?
No.